is up, everybody? Keith Jameson, go back here, guy 231 across the DFS industry. Sorry this is out late. Wasn't feeling up to video last night, and morning with kids, so it doesn't normally go that well in the morning either. But hopefully this will be up and posted by 10, give you a few hours for the slate. Hope you all did well yesterday. I thought it was a good, fun slate. I was very, very, very straightforward with the core that I gave out, and everybody but Octavio did pretty well, who we thought was out, right? So anyhow, today, just for warning, it's like easily one of the hardest slates I've prepped for and like tried to build holders for. I don't feel good about where I'm at. Kind of makes me happy to talk it out. Sometimes I figure stuff out as I'm talking. That's weird, right? But it does help, and we're just going to go kind of team by team, game by game, and see if we can stumble into some plays. So quick reminder, like, subscribe, comment the video. It really helps. Keeps me pushing to do the content. I really do appreciate a lot of the comments. And then one other thing, find me on Twitter at GatorGuy231. And I'm happy if I see the notification to try to jam in an answer after lineups, stuff like that. Just really continue creating this DFS soccer community, which, I'm really, really hopeful that by World Cup that we get some really good prize pools. So, all right. Started out Dortmund at City, minus 500. City. Like as I've talked over and over again on EPL pods. And I think Haaland makes City roulette so much easier because so much of the goals and the focus is shifted towards him. He's a tough fit, but it's a revenge game. Is a revenge. I don't like just automatically saying revenge games versus other teams. Like, he wasn't pissed at Dortmund. So, does he have that much extra in him to really say F you? I don't know. Baker Mayfield was a revenge game this NFL weekend. That didn't really work out. But I think he's a great play. I think De Bruyne obviously is a great play. Those are the two standout plays. Just fitting both and then also fitting, PSG piece. It's really, really brutal. You run out of salary on the slate very fast. They did not do like yesterday where Salah was 9,000 or, Trent Alexander-Arnold was low, or all these guys yesterday were so low. Today, I feel like the adjustment is that everything is high. So those are the top two plays, is De Bruyne and Haaland. I'm expecting De Bruyne will be the most popular player on the slate for good reason. He's under all the top guys, right? He's under Messi, he's under Neymar, he's under Mbappe, he's under Haaland. At 10,000 set piece shares, De Bruyne, he probably has the best floor in all DFS football, so I think you lock and load him in cash. Maybe in GPP, it's worth a fade to get some other leverage. Haaland's definitely one of those forward choices. I think ideally you have at least one of Haaland, Mbappe, Messi, or Neymar. And I'll get to PSG next. I think it's Messi for me because he's the cheapest and has, better floor than Mbappe. I think you could say Neymar upside's a little bit higher, but I think he probably has the best floor of the bunch. So that's where I'm going to go. But just jamming in the second one is tough. So I think that's where the slate is going to be decided in a lot of ways. So are you jamming in a second guy where you don't have much salary left, but you go, F it, I have three great players, going to just piece together some value, hopefully, and see what happens. I totally get that vibe. It's just hard. From City, it's also worth noting, I don't know how they're going to line up. I'd be interested in Mahrez if he lines up, but he seems like he's out of the rotation. It could be Silva. Bernardo actually took a couple corners, 7,300. I've seen crazier. Phil Foden's been really good for them all season. I think he's a really, really strong option at 8,500. That was something price-wise I looked at, and I'm like, okay. It feels like such a big downgrade from the other guys, but you get the savings. So I think he's worth a look. I think it's really hard to fit the Man City fullbacks if you're playing 2 to 3 studs. But if you aren't, Sergio Gomez and Joao Cancelo should both be in good shape here. Dortmund, I think, is in a really, really rough shape. Dortmund doesn't defend well, so I do think City's going to score some goals. Dortmund's floor's already sucked. It's going to suck even more away from home for City, so nobody in Dortmund can play for me. If you have somebody like in GPP, go for it. PSG at Maccabi. Kind of already talked about it. There's only 3 guys to talk about from PSG. It's Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. I think Messi is the most playable of the bunch because of price. then Neymar, then Mbappe. We saw Mbappe actually become like a GPP slate breaker last slate, he and Holland, because they just were unnatural fits, that there was no ownership. I kind of feel the same way again here about Mbappe. Now, all that being said, I don't think Cohen's a bad play at all. I think it's going to be a weird environment for PSG to go play in. Cohen, talented American keeper over there. There was like rumors that he was going to come to MLS. But he's been playing really well for them, from all I've read. I watched Maccabi. But cheapest goalkeeper on the slate. He's at home, or second cheapest. I don't know if he's cheaper. I don't know. He's at home. The reason I actually like targeting goalies against PSG every once in a while, because PSG just fires so many shots. Like Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe all aren't afraid to take long shots. Whereas like City is a little more tactical in their shots. So I think that you could see a big game from, you might allow 4, but if you get 4 and you get 10 saves, then Yahtzee. So that would be the only play for Maccabi. And those are both minus 500 favorites. Next biggest favorite on the slate, my hand rating's so bad. Chelsea hosting Salzburg, minus 350. I have no idea what to expect from Chelsea in the grandfather era. Better football, more fun football. What will that mean right away? I don't know. It's sad that the weekend, like the games being canceled, probably helped Chelsea actually get some training in. I'm assuming they could train. I don't know that answer. But I don't even know what to expect from the lineup. I'd expect Cucurella because he knows Potter's system. I expect wingbacks as Cucurella and James. Potter does like playing wingbacks at Brighton. There's nobody I can tell you is like a good play. Like in the way the constructions I was playing with, but I'm fine with Cucurella, I'm fine with James. I should take that back. It's like a lock play. I like those two a lot. If I found them in a build, I'd be like, fantastic. I'm good with that. Could you play Kai for low owned goal or just random goal? You could. Sterling is like 8,000. It would be really interesting if he played like Broja, and then you get like a punt forward. That'd be really cool. Or Aubameyang. Those are the cheap forwards that I think some people are going to gravitate towards. So it'd be really interesting to see how that rolls. If you get a cheap Chelsea forward, they are a big enough favorite. You expect a new manager bump here. The biggest concern is that they haven't had time to acclimate to a system. If the changes are too much, are they actually going to be like paralyzed with movement? I don't know that answer. So I would say cheap Chelsea forward or wingbacks. That would be your Chelsea exposure. From Salzburg, I just wouldn't go anywhere in cash. You could do Ulmer, you could do Seawald if they're in for some cheap corners. I don't necessarily know that that's advisable. I think there's another 2 guys I'm going to go over in a minute from the same game that could give you cheap exposure. But if you want to play Fernando or Okafor for GPP, think Chelsea's still rotten, go for it. Next one, I screwed up my order. I tried, by the way, for those. What can you do? Leipzig at Real Madrid. No Benzema. It's a big thing for Real Madrid. I think Toni Kroos is the clear, like, middle of the road cash option. 5,800 is still really cheap. Takes Monopoly set pieces for them. He's boring, but, he's like 7 to 10 points floor. I don't think, like, Kroos is a guy that if you faded him, you're the biggest idiot in the world, because it is just kind of a floor play. He needs a goal or assist to really give you any sort of production that would kill you. And he's why I don't think like a 3 stud build is crazy. You miss him, but what are you missing? Now, I saw a prediction of him not being in. I think that's crazy. I don't think there's any way at home that they don't play Kroos. But if he were to miss, maybe that could open up Luka Modric for some set pieces. I don't remember his price, but that would be interesting. The player I'm going to be looking at to see if he's starting is Eden Hazard. If he starts at striker, he's been actually really good for them in Benzema's absence, been scoring goals. So I think he makes a decent chunk of sense for a punt. He's like 5,500. They're minus 162 at home at the Bernabeu versus Leipzig, who can concede goals. So I can kind of like that for a punt. Again, like this slate's like so much about like, can you fill this second forward? Because if you can fill this second forward from somebody that's not a stud, now the build opens up and you can get a lot more balance and a lot more floors and all of that stuff. Just a lot more quality. But if you can't, if the punt second forward options are just truly terrible, then you probably have to spend up, right? So then it's like sorry I'm taking detours. I'm just trying to think out this slate because I was like trying to build this morning. I'm like, dear God, this is so hard. So like, let's say I lock in Messi and I lock in De Bruyne. Now all of a sudden I go, I have to play a second forward, and if I play Haaland, or if I play Neymar, or if I play Foden, I barely can get to Cruz in the middle, and then I'm just punting the whole lineup if I have to spend up at that second forward. So that's why if we can get like a punt forward, so it's really, really critical, and then we can just get a lot more balance and a lot more stability in our lineup. All right, from Leipzig, again, there's 14 teams here. I really don't want to target an away dog for any sort of cash pieces, but Sosablai has been good. Looks like now under the new coach, he's going to be, featured more. He's taking some set pieces. Would split with Rom if Rom's in. Rom was out last game, which is surprising on the weekend. But again, do I really want to spend precious salary on an away dog at the Bernabeu? No. So move on. And Kunku for GPP, sure, why not? Benfica at Juventus. This will be a quick one. Really only like 2-3 plays here. Like this is Juventus plus 125, but it's Kostic on the Juventus side. Still not the same Kostic that we had at Frankfurt, which was our DFS god. But, he's still taking set pieces, still going to cross the ball to Dusan Vlahovic. If you want to low own like GPP stack, there you go. Benfica has good defense though, so I don't necessarily think that that's where you go. For Benfica, João Mario, David Neres, Grimaldo are the plays. Again, I don't think that this is the spot. Like none of them are mispriced enough. I didn't look at João Mario, but I assume he's like 5,500, which, again, João Mario away to Juventus or Toni Kroos home. Exactly. Those are all in play, but nothing that like stuff jumps out. Napoli hosting Rangers. I'm burying the lead, by the way. Some of my value is going to be that last game, the Copenhagen game. But Napoli at Rangers. I actually expect Rangers to show up here and put together a really good game. They've gotten their butt beat 4-0 the last two games by Celtic and then by Dortmund. No. I can't remember who they got their butt kicked by, but it's 4-0 in 2 straight games. I really expect a response here. I saw a weird prediction that didn't have Tavernier in, so I had to research that, and it doesn't seem like he's out. But Tavernier and Barisic should split sets. I really like Barisic at 4,100. I think he's one of the premier values on the slate. As long as you think that Rangers can show up, I do think Rangers at home will show. So, Barisic 4,100 I really like. Tavernier 5,200 is really fine too, but, that's $1,100 difference for split sets, and Tavernier's biggest thing is that he has PKs. That's kind of the Rangers side. From Napoli, Zielinski is really expensive. I love Peter Zielinski, but that is just way pricey for a slight away favorite. So I don't see any of the Napoli guys that you can play in like cash or optimal, but if you want to do like Zielinski, Osimhen's out, which is a big deal. Really, really top striker. Kind of they anchor so much off of him. So, I can't say the stud left winger's name, Klushevs or something like that, but he's really good. I think Lozano's out, so it might be Politano. Politano could take some sets, but I remember seeing he was a little expensive too. I think Napoli's just GPP. I think everybody outside the fullbacks is GPP in that game. Final game, I think the final game. Hopefully I don't miss a game like I did last time. But Sevilla hosting Copenhagen. So 2 cheap sets here, potentially. All right. Isco took sets on the weekend, or took half the corners on the weekend for Sevilla, 3,900. We know Isco's a big talent. Back to his Madrid days. Back to even before that. I'm actually blinking. Was it Betis? I can't remember who he played for beforehand, but Isco was great for the Spanish national team last World Cup. So Isco's a good player. Just it's gotten off the rails. But 3,900, if he's going to be in an attacking role and on set pieces, I think that's a premier value on the slate. So 3,900 Isco stands out. Your fullbacks for Seville are always in play. Acuna takes set pieces. Tejas takes set pieces. So let's just see how that works out. But they would probably split with Isco if in. We don't have a large sample set on Sevilla, but that's kind of how I would see that play out. Any attackers being GPP. I like Copenhagen here, actually. But again, we're going to use Sevilla for their GPP. And then for Copenhagen, their left back, Christensen, has been taking some set pieces. He had a big game last time out, 7 or 8 crosses, 3,900. I think he's another really good value too, because I think Sevilla's been a mess. So Copenhagen could show up. I really like Copenhagen for like a couple short GPP places. I was hoping like Doremi was playing good. He played good like a few years ago, I feel like. I definitely know that name, but, I looked in the league. He hasn't been scoring or anything. So, you could find some cheap pieces there. Just look at their sofa logs and league play, just see how they're doing. But those are the 2 value plays from there. Anybody else, I just think it's hard to go. But again, if we see any values pop up, you roll. All right, I'm at my next destination, so I'm going to go. Hope you guys do well today. Sorry it went a little bit long. Huge slate, though. 14 games. Me ranting and talking out. Not ranting, but trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do. Soothing. A little bit of a help for me sometimes just to talk it out and see if we can figure out some builds. So have some ideas now, putting together my builds. Again, wish you all luck. With that, I'll say